Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Kakadash. We give double honors to our apostles and elders, a great millstone. Also say shalom to all the Akimat that appreciate the truth. All right, and all true sincerity, those who are in the like mind, men seeking the salvation. All right, seeking this truth wholeheartedly. I say a good shalom to you guys. All right, to you brothers out there. All right, and as you can see, this is another in transit video. All right, lower than this transit could be edifying. And this is something that I was meditated upon recently, or really just a couple minutes ago. All right. Our scripture saying, "In the day that power, they shall be willing." All right. Now I'm going to. All right. All right. The times when our hell breaks loose, our people, primarily our people, are they gonna try to want to seek the Yahweh Shai, flock towards Yahweh Shai, all right, because they're gonna see that power, all right, and what power I'm talking about, that spiritual power, okay, the power of the Lord, all right, that's gonna be bestowed upon the men, all right, who've been doing what they had to do, all right, and seeking the Lord wholeheartedly, all right, before our hell break loose, all right, the Lord is gonna be able to, bless them with spiritual power in those times are to protect, and provide, and so on and so on. All right, because we understand, all right, the times if you don't understand, I'm explain a little bit, but the times you better get into is about to get real, like people say, apocalyptic. It's like if I probably butcher that word, real purge like. Okay, I'm putting in terms that, Jake, could paint the picture, okay, but on a greater scale, all right, where the Lord is going to have to intervene, all right, you're going to need spiritual intervention, all right, and the wisdom of Yahweh Shai, all right, to be, okay and safe in those days, all right, wisdom in itself is a power. Wisdom of what? Of knowledge. Wisdom, knowledge of the scriptures. You can say wisdom and knowledge shall be that stability of that times. What times? The times of trouble. All right. Jacob's trouble. The Bible talks about, the scriptures talk about times of Jacob's trouble. All right. Which is really, all right, there's going to be a time period, right? Tribulation is going to come upon the earth. All right. Death, destruction, and all forms of things. That's really going to be primarily for, Jake, the so-called Negroes, Latino, and Americans, but it's going to be, the other heathens and stuff, they're going to be affected by it too. But in those times, the Lord is going to save and protect a certain amount of men. Okay, and if you're not a part, of that protected amount or that protected bunch, ultimately talking about the elect, okay, your ash is ultimately grass. Your ash is grass, or you won't have that hedge, or you won't have the shadow. All right, of the Almighty, I said in Psalm 91. All right, because you didn't choose to seek Yahweh Shai. All right, and the spirit of Jake and the trace of Jake, they like to, all right, seek the Lord when it's convenient for them, or when they seem to be in trouble. Okay, Jake always been like that, and they gonna continue to be like that until that day. Okay. In the times of trouble, they're gonna be like that. All right, even onto the noose. All right, as for you're gonna have certain Jake that's gonna have to die on this side. You're talk about death by pain. All right, dying from those nukes. All right, for not ultimately choosing the Lord in the times of grace period. Okay, all right, when they had a chance to watch the video, they had a chance to walk up to the men of the Lord on the highways and byways, or ask questions. Okay. Or chance to turn Yahweh Shai. Really, that's really what I'm talking about. All right, because part of you getting close to Yahweh Shai is actually making an effort by getting into the scriptures, getting understanding the doctrine, attaining to the men of the Lord that the Lord has bestowed upon the scene. You got the prophets on the highways and byways. All right, start with GMS, who preach, how we preach the 100% truth through the Spirit. We say it all humbly. All right, that's how you seek the Lord, in praying, fasting, repenting. Okay, watching the videos. All right, they didn't choose to, attain to these things. All right, that's why soon eventually the Lord is gonna pour out heavy judgments upon them. Scripture called them scourges for amendment. Okay, but they elect is gonna be saved out of it. And going back to the topic, I was drifting off for a little bit, but going back to the topic, it says in day that power they shall be willing. Okay, they're gonna see, all right, a lot of people getting fucked up around about them. All right, they're gonna see people losing their wits, people going insane. All right, why? Because they don't have the wisdom knowledge that's gonna keep them stable in those times. All right, they don't have the comforting scriptures, the comforting stories that we read in the scriptures. All right, they don't understand prophecy. They don't understand the time of trouble before the peace. Okay. All right, they're gonna be out there wits going crazy. Not only just that, all right, they're gonna be seeing death, everywhere. They're gonna see famine. All right, they may experience famine. All right, scarcity of food and water. Okay, they're gonna see people dying by pestilence, sicknesses that's gonna be upon the earth. All these things happening at a same amount of time. All right, but it's one thing they also gonna see is the men of the Lord in an upright spirit. All right, looking healthy, having a sane mind, not bugging out, not going crazy. And walking amongst, the earth with a form of, I'm okay. The Lord got me. All right, because the men of the Lord, not only that they're gonna have spiritual power, our sense of doing things that's out of the regular human nature, but they're gonna have the Lord, they're gonna have the angels. Scripture, the angel of the Lord that came around about them and delivered them. The angel of the Lord came around them who fear him and delivered them. I butcher it, but it's Psalm chapter 34. All right. So you have the angel round about them. All right. You read Daniel 12. All right. And Michael starts stand up, our archangel. All right. In the times of trouble. All right. The Lord gonna have these angels intervene. That's how bad it's gonna get in times to come. All right. Where you're gonna need spiritual intervention, and the Lord stepping foot in front of those, bullets in a sense. All right. All right. The Lord covering your back, not only just you, but the people around you. All right. Your family, your kids. Okay, so these certain things we make a count on so we can, continue singing about you, my shot, because this shit is gonna get bad. It's already bad as it is right now. Now we're already in the midst of Jacob's trouble. It's gonna intensify, And so we constantly try to offend less and do good in the eyes of Yahweh Shem Shai, so we could be sane and protecting in those times. All right, but you're gonna have those of our own people, Jake. All right, that's gonna be left behind, in the sense of they'll slacken. They're slacking. They put off the work. Okay, but once they see that power, they're like, damn, I should have listened. These were the men. Or a little bit of that Wisdom Psalm 5. All right, because Wisdom Psalm 5 goes into the our enemies, the heathens. Okay, it could also go into Jake too. All right, seeing the salvation of the prophets and the elect. But they also gonna be able to see Jake, all right, in good spirits and in good power before that. Okay, they're gonna be able to see the miracles. Just talk about in the land was put to shame. You're gonna get praise and shame. Praise and fame. Okay, so our enemies, are of the heathen nations and even to our own people. All right, they're gonna be able to see the power. Or a lot of women are gonna see the power. We got prophecies like Isaiah 4:1. Okay, that's gonna happen. 7 women shall take hold of one man. It's like 7 women shall take hold of one man. Just meaning like a complete number of women. All right, because women, all right, they like to flock to stability. They like to flock to somewhere that's safe. Okay, so you're gonna have a lot of women too, kids, that gonna need protection in those times. All right, Isaiah 4:1 states that a lot of women will try to flee unto the man of the Lord and try to leave their man, and which Esau sort of show you that in the movies. Okay, when a woman's in trouble, they try to flock to the man of power that's going to protect them. All right. Why are they gonna flock to the men of the Lord? Because they have power. Okay. They have power. Okay. Same way how we gonna flock to y'all, how we flock to y'all by Shema, the same way how these people gonna come to us. All right. But you know, at the end of the day, is the Lord's pick. All right. The Lord is gonna be able to, you know, put a spirit upon us to discern who's gonna be protected in those days. So it's still the will of Yahweh Shema Shai, although we still have the power. Okay. All right. And the Lord's gonna hit Jake hard, man, especially with the famine where Jake can't eat. Their stomach is touching their back. All right, but we're gonna be eating, have an abundance. Scripture said, in death and famine thou shalt laugh. Okay, that's a whole nother spirit, a whole nother mindset where you seeing chaos, but you just laughing at this shit. Okay, Scripture talk about you shall laugh at your calamity. That's another thing. All right, to have that type of mindset, to be able to do that is a form of power. Okay, which we're gonna have real soon, and which we already have right now. We laughing at our enemies. We laughing at Jake. All right, we praising Yahweh Shem Shai, thanking the Lord for giving us a glimpse of that power, because we do got a sense of power right now through the Spirit. All right, we able to prophesy, break down scriptures, and you know, stay comforted and have a sane mind in the times where people are losing themselves. All right, people already are losing themselves. All right, and a lot of things ain't even much happen yet. Okay, this is just the brink of it. Okay, when society collapses and people are going crazy because they're losing their money, the men of the Lord are gonna be good. Okay, because we seeking the kingdom first. All right, we understand this home, as the NLT say in Hebrews chapter 13 verse 14. It says, "For here we have no continuous city, but we seek when to come." NLT version says, "For here, but we know this is not our permanent home, but we seek when to home. Seek when to come." Okay, but yeah, man, our people gonna see what's power. All right, Esau gonna see what's power. All right, they're gonna try to flock, right? And it's gonna be a lot of last minute Jakes trying to do that. And I got a term for them. I like to call them deathbed ass niggas. Because Jake is some deathbed ass niggas, always trying to wait for the last minute to flock unto Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay? The Lord sees all that, man. Alright? But Lord is really edifying, a quick video through the Spirit. First and foremost, we give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Kakadash. We give double honors to our apostles, the other in Wilson. Obviously, Shalom to all the Akim out there, preach the truth. True City, on the 7th Shalom.